Hey ho, hey ho. I'm just about to get set up. Well, I am all set up to go put up a driveway gate at the end of our driveway from the road. We get a lot of people that are just lost and they turn down here and they drive all the way up to our barn thinking that they can find some house that doesn't even exist on this road. It happens on a weekly basis. There's weeks that it happens on a daily basis. Most of the time it's a harmless, Joe Schmo lost, mailman lost and confused, delivery guy lost and confused, things like that. But we just want to stop that kind of traffic, that kind of, quite frankly, nonsense. People don't have any common sense. Our property's marked both by our last name and by street numbers at the end of the drive. So it's not hard to decipher. But nonetheless, so that's what I'm about to get started. It's a county line 16-inch galvanized wire mesh fence gate. And our intent is to just start with the gate so we can at least stop the vehicle traffic that comes down the road inadvertently. But we put the mesh on there because we do anticipate having fencing at some point that comes all the way up to the road. And when it does, this will facilitate keeping the animals inside. So let me grab the last few things I need and I'll head up to where I'm working and we'll get started. This is our 16-foot county line. It's a galvanized fence, driveway entry type fence, We got the mesh on the bottom because we're eventually gonna fence all the way across the front of the property here for animals, and we wanted to have the mesh just to help prevent dogs and whatnot coming underneath. So I'm getting ready to put that up. A couple things I did in advance to kind of get myself set up here was bring your gate over to near where your post is and then visually line up where you need to have your hinges so they're not, like for example down here, I had the hinge too low and I would have had to go into this concrete, which I didn't want to do, couldn't really do. So I had to raise it up a bit to get to the wood. So, map that out where it's got to be and just snug them down so they don't move while you're working. And do the same on your post. I went ahead and I measured from the ground up to the bottom of the gate. I think I put it at about 5 inches. And then I measured from the bottom of the gate up to the bottom of the first hinge right here. And then to the top of the next hinge right here. So I measured up 5 inches to here. That's off the ground. And then I measured up to where I needed to get clearance for my first pin, which is right here. And then I measured to the top. And that gave me my final number. So and then I just transferred those numbers over to here on the post. I got a couple blocks here, which is why I'm at 5 inches for my raise, because I just took a 2x4 and I guess it's an old 4x6 there. But when you lay them together, you wind up with about 5 inches. So let me take a look at the tools you'll need. I got myself a 4-foot level. My little impact gun, just never know. I had some stuff hanging up I had wood braces and stuff I had to take down, so I always bring them along. My hammer drill, my little Milwaukee hammer drill. Of course, you'll need a tape measure, an auger bit that's long enough to go through your post material. So I got 6x6. I got a pretty long auger bit here that'll work out just fine. 3/4 inch auger bit or 3/4 inch paddle bit, whatever you choose to use, that's what you'll need. Small square just to center your marks on your post. I got a miscellaneous wrench. It actually doesn't fit anything I'm working with, but what it'll allow me to do is I can set the pin in this hole and I can quickly spin in the hinge if I need to, the hinge pin. The other alternative is just knocking it in with the mallet. So we'll just see how it goes. I don't know. Couple adjustable wrenches. You really only need one at a time. So if you only have one adjustable wrench, that's fine. I have a second one just to hold, make sure it doesn't move, but you should be okay. And then, like I said, a mallet or something just to knock it in. And this is a 9/16 socket. And that'll be for the hardware that holds the hinge to the gate. Real quick note, my brother bought me these Craftsman wrenches, and what they are is they're open on the back side. So if you've ever been in a situation where you just grab the standard depth or shallow depth socket and you're wrenching it down, and all of a sudden you start getting the bolt, what's nice is that this will just let the bolt pass right through, so you don't need to change out and go find a deep well socket or anything. You just keep tightening, the bolt will come right through, and they just pop out like that. They're really, really, really handy. He got me these years ago, and every so often I run into a job where I just don't have the deep well that I need, or whatever the case may be. And this bugger has bailed me out a lot of times. So that's about all you really need for tools. This is obviously an easier job with two people, but we'll just see how it goes. I'm gonna set you guys up on the tripod and just kind of work, and maybe I'll do a little time lapse. We'll see. Well, right about here, my mic took a little bit of a nosedive, and the audio just wasn't picking up real well. But as you go to drill, what you want to do is make sure you're going in as straight as you can, nice and level, nice and plumb left to right. Take your time. Certainly you don't have to be dead nuts on. You can have a little bit of room for error. But you also don't want it shooting off in odd directions either. So I got the auger bit here, and what happened was, and I was explaining, was this pressure treated wood, you got to back the drill out and clear the chips. And I would just ran it right through, augging, and it actually clogged with chips, and with the heat, everything swells a little bit. So it took me a minute to back it back out. But just kind of do the ream effect where you go in a little bit, out, in, out, in, out, and all the way through. And you shouldn't have a problem with it binding up or anything like that. So first hole looked like it went pretty good right there. And what I do is not only do I ream it out with the auger bit, but I'll actually go back through with a paddle bit and just round it off. It makes it easier for starting and stopping, and it also clears away any of that extra chip buildup on the back from when you cut through with the auger bit. Not necessarily has to be done, but I just wanted it cleaned up a little bit. So top one's an easier one to drill. It's just much easier to work standing up and having things closer to eye level versus being down on your hands and knees. So I had put the square on there and squared some lines, so I had a really good idea when I came out the backside how true it was, and I was pretty much right on. So I think, and this is where I had changed on to input in the paddle bit. And like I said, I just kind of clean out the edges with the 3/4 paddle bit. Regardless of how you do drill it out, you want to keep it tight enough that your hardware doesn't have room to move around, right? You want it to go in there and set well. So don't go reaming it out and making the hole so big that it becomes sloppy. Well, those holes are in. I'm just gonna get the hardware and stuff here, and I'll run those through. And what you'll want to do here is you'll probably need your mallet, but bring the wrench too. I was able to knock the bottom one in with the mallet, and pretty much went right in. Clean out all that wood debris so you're not fighting against any of the sawdust or anything that's stuck in the hole. And you really shouldn't have any problems. Let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, a couple whacks, yeah. Yep. Yep, so that one there just walked itself right in with the mallet. And the top one was a little more difficult. Really not hard at all, but just, the mallet only took it so far. And that's why I always bring that oversized wrench. It's an easy way to drop it on there and spin it right in. You could use a pair of vice grips, probably get away with a pipe wrench, or you could probably even throw a crescent wrench on the pin itself and spin it, but don't fight it too hard. Like I said, if you got it in the hole and it starts to bind up, just start threading it in. That's the easiest way. Don't even bother tapping it the rest of the way. Just start threading, because it'll thread itself through the wood and come out the other side. And that's what I'm doing here. All right, so now we got our pins in. You have your bottom pin facing up and your top pin facing down. That way your gauge is kind of sandwiched between the two pins, and somebody can't just come over and lift your gate off of the pins. We've seen a lot of gates where they're installed with both hinge pins facing up, and it really is defeats the purpose, because you just walk over to that corner of the gate and you lift it up 2 inches and it falls off its hinges, and you're in. So this is the process where you begin checking for level and looking at how plumb it is at the hinges. And I basically do this every so often throughout the process. I just keep checking as I have to move things or make adjustments. I go back and just keep making sure that I'm plumb and level. I do that right up to the very end. It's one of the last things I do at the end, is just reassure that I still got my my gate level and my gate plumb at the hinges. So what you see me doing here now is I'm threading the bolts, or excuse me, the nuts onto the bolt. And what it does is it adjusts the canter, I believe is the word. It'll make, if I thread the nut on the back side of the post at the bottom, it will pull the bottom of the gate in towards the post. All right, so the gate's up where I want it to be. Now I just want to sink this other post for the latch. Just get your fence or your gate at a right angle to your driveway and whatnot. Get it all squared where you want it to be. I'm gonna dig just a bit oversized hole right there. That'll leave me room to line it up, and got the old post digger over here and a breaking bar and a shovel. So I guess I'll get to it. Well, I'll do a little voiceover on this one again, as I had audio problems. Just kept recording it real light, but so the post is in there. I was able to get it down to right around 22 inches, which is fine here in southeastern Tennessee. Frost isn't going to do much on this thing. So I got a couple stakes. You want to drive 2 stakes in at 90-degree angles to each other. And what this will allow you to do is allow you to plumb it from left to right, and then plumb it inside and out as far as the relationship to the gate goes, leaning in towards the gate or leaning out from the gate. And that's what I'm doing right here. Just put a couple stakes in the ground, then get yourself a stringer to reach from the post to the 2x4 that you just, or to the post, from the post to the stake you just drove in. Just screw it together, and when you get the level bubble where you need it to be, just screw it in. So I'll do this real fast, and I could do the concrete right after that. So I think I'll pause right there and get some water. Take a quick fiver, but I'll show you what we got done. Dug that. It's about 22 inches, which is plenty. And then these supports will just keep it plumb and square. So, I mean, it's looking pretty fancy already. I'll go down and get the cement, the concrete, whatever the hell you want to call it, in a bucket full of water. I'll be right back. All right, so what I did was ran up to the house and I had 2 50-pound bags of concrete. And I just threw them in the bucket and threw in some water, and I'll mix it real fast up here by the gate, and we'll put it in. So I'm gonna try to set you guys up over here, and I think once again I'll just do a time lapse while I shovel this in. But it's 2 bags of 50-pound two 50-pound bags of concrete going in the hole, boss. But that's it. The hole's filled. I checked it again for plumb. It's fine there. I'll let this set up for a couple hours and clean up this mess, and then I think I'll have lunch and I'll come back and put the latch on. Quite honestly, I'm surprised. Well, let's just say, quite honestly, I'm surprised. Praise the Lord. So I got this one-way latch for the gate, and what it does is it allows the gate to open and close in one direction, and then I can also padlock it down here, but it can't open out onto the street, so nobody can accidentally open it out onto the street and make an accident and leave it kind of goofy. But it's just got some hardware here and then some hardware on each right there and up there. So I'm going to go on and put that on the gate, and I'll have to make a little bit of adjustments at the hinge end just to get this to come in towards the latch a little bit more. But I've got plenty of room to do that, and should work out well. So let me get to it. So that's it. I got the latch on. And the gate's balanced really nice. It, just kind of floats where you need it. I also moved the rocks around out here in front. Yeah. Adjust them a little bit tomorrow, I think, but we try out the beds over here. Yeah, it looks pretty good.